A couple replacements of different people. Okay.
We're all waiting for me.
Yes, we are. I wanted to wait. Everyone else said not to, but, okay. Good morning, everyone. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, April 4th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:05. Nan Baker.
Here.
Dale Miller.
Here.
Jim Boyle, serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones. Nicole English, serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers, serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here?
Lee Tucker, serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 28th. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lee Tucker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, let's move on to our first item, please.
First item, BC 2022-197, Department of Public Works, submitting an agreement with the City of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $125,430.26 for bridge inspection services, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 1 year.
This is Nicole English from Public Works. So this is our agreement where we perform the bridge inspection for the City of Cleveland's local bridges. And it is coming late just in the fact that it's for this calendar year, really, but we had to wait for Cleveland to write up the agreement and send it to us.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Are there questions from the board on this item? Mr. Boyle?
Nicole, so these are just for, they're county bridges within the,
No, they're actually the City of Cleveland's responsible bridges, but they pay us to do the inspection that's
okay, so
required
it's
by
not
the
just
state.
every bridge within the city of Cleveland,
No.
it's just the city responsible one.
Correct. We do the county bridges on our own with our own funds. So this is, they request, they could use a consultant, but they found that our services are, I think, cheaper and better in their mind. So we've done this years.
Another fine example of collaboration. Thank you, Public Works.
Okay, any additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-198, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Johnson Controls Fire Protection LP in the amount not to exceed $38,114.56 for a state contract purchase to upgrade the fire protection system at the Cuyahoga County Men's Shelter, located at 2100 Lakeside Avenue, Cleveland, for the period April 4th, 2022 through September 30th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. As stated, this item is a state contract purchase to Johnson Controls for materials to support our capital project to replace the fire alarm system at the 2100 Lakeside Men's Shelter, which is a county-owned building, as you know. This is just to buy the parts and pieces for our trades to install. We'll be purchasing through this procurement the new fire alarm control panel, various horns and strobes and indicator devices, as well as detection equipment, both for ducts and smoke detectors in the general residential spaces.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-199, Department of Development, on behalf of the Department of Regional Collaboration, submitting an amendment to a contract with Squire Patton Boggs US LLP for federal advocacy services for the period April 20th, 2020 through April 19th, 2023, to expand the scope of services to add temporary grant writing support services to access funds made available through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and other state funding grant opportunities, and to revise contract language regarding use of subcontractors, effective upon contract signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Good morning, Christopher Ferroni from the Department of Development. We're requesting an approval for an existing contract with Squires, Patton, and Boggs for services to help us with obtaining grants and funding opportunities available through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
Okay.
That's for $100,000.
All right, thank you, Christopher. Are there questions from the board on this item? Councilwoman Baker.
So what are we anticipating? Why is it now that we're considering having Squire Patton Boggs become a grant writer for us?
Due to the resources that we have available, I think in our department and in the county, we're looking to have that as a service that we can provide ourselves within the county as well. But with this opportunity that came up through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, it now presented us with an opportunity to obtain some additional funding. We have the ongoing contract with Squires, Patton and Boggs to provide some services with the federal government. So this is providing an extension or an additional services they can provide us.
And if I could just add
Yes.
real quick, because we're involved in this too a little bit. And so we are pursuing hiring internal grant writers as well that's working through HR. And
Okay.
so the issue was in the meantime,
Okay.
there's several of the federal grant deadlines that are coming up quickly. And so I think this was our easiest method to engage somebody who could assist us in that without missing out on an opportunity. But we are pursuing
Okay.
those couple grant writer positions internal.
So this is until 2023?
That's their current contract, I believe, so we're
Correct,
just
the current
aligning with
contract.
their current contract.
All right. And what return on that investment do you anticipate? How much money is there that we think we can?
I can just speak, the one we're working on right now, we're asking for, I think, 6.5 million plus. So, I mean, we're looking at quite a bit of return.
So that 100,000 really is
Right.
insignificant.
But again, that's just the one we're working on for the
Right.
lakefront project. There's probably others that you guys have them working on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole, Chris. And Councilwoman, I might add, Paul Hertig, Director of Development. As Nicole said, there are multiple opportunities. And so while we work to bring our full-time staff up to speed, we think it's essential to have an experienced firm that Squire has arranged available right now.
Okay. And you feel confident you're going to bring those dollars back and much more?
Yeah, I think just in our initial opportunity that we've been working with them, we're impressed with what they can do. And I mean, hopefully we'll get
Good.
something.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing more. Good.
Okay. Are there any additional questions? Councilman Miller.
Just a comment that I strongly support this request, and I think that there's just a lot of federal money out there, and there's also state money that's been funneled through the federal money, and so I think we're going to be able to get a very favorable outcome on this. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Boyle?
I agree with Councilman Miller. I think this timing is absolutely essential. But then the other piece that and I think Nicole mentioned it, that it does warrant a comment, is that I think there were two positions. They're looking for
Correct.
two. I think it's important, and I think that we've struggled as a county to kind of keep our grant writing in a unified, singular focus. And so this is something that while important at this time, I think long-term, kind of globally, we have to look at how the county runs, manages, operates compliance, as well as application processes for grants, whether it's federal or state. But all that being said, you're nodding your head, Paul, I think you agree, and I think we've had this conversation has been going on for this long, predates us, but in any event, just something that I'm happy to hear.
Okay. Seeing no further comments, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-200, Agency of the Inspector General, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Wingswept LLC in the amount not to exceed $48,121.94 for software support and maintenance on the case management tracking system for the period April 23rd, 2022 through April 22nd, 2024.
Alexa Beeler with the Agency of Inspector General. This is for our agency's case management software system. We've had it since 2011. We put it out for informal competitive bidding. It was posted for a week and we received 3 total bids, and Wingswept was by far the lowest bidder. So we are planning on continuing with them.
Okay, thank you.
It's approved.
Are there questions from the board on this item?
I assume you're satisfied with them, right?
We are. I mean, it's a very basic system, but it serves our purposes, so.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-201, County Treasurer's Office, recommending an award to Weekly's Mailing Service Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $9,895.69 for the purchase of postage for mailing of the 2021 last half and 2022 first half Easy Pay and ACH letters to participating taxpayers.
Good morning, Ray McDaniel, Treasury Department. We normally send out about 25,000 mailings per collection for the Easy Pay program. And those mailings consist of letters to let them know when we're doing an automatic withdrawal, as well as sending out the coupons. What this does is that this pays the vendor to send out those mailings.
Okay, Ray, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? It's pretty standard routine.
Yes,
Okay.
standard routine.
All right. Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-202, County Treasurer's Office, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Echo Graphics Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $27,500 for the purchase of various promotional items for distribution at public events, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
What we want to do here is that we want to purchase some promotional items so that when we attend different events, we can draw people to our tables. People like to have particular gifts and they like to receive gifts, and this is related to all the different programs that we have that we want to just spread some more information about them. The convenience of the Easy Pay program, all the financial hardship programs that we have out there. And we think that this is going to be a good ROI on this because we're spending $27,000 for these promotional items, but we believe that it's going to bring back probably six figures and about $100,000 in the Easy Pay, delinquency programs, et cetera.
Okay, Ray, thank you again. Questions from the board on this item? Please.
A little unsettling that we have to give things away in order for people to pay attention to what it is that we are offering, which is actually a benefit to them. And this is the first time you're doing this, so what has happened in the past? You just aren't able to get the attention, or?
This is the first time we're doing this because this is the time where we hired a outreach coordinator. And in that outreach coordinator's position, she would always go out and do word of mouth.
Right.
And we found out that people was interested in these items, but we didn't have a lot of traffic coming to our tables. So we thought of a plan, and she thought of a plan of trying to get their attention.
Yeah.
And we felt that this would be a good way to get their attention so that we can spread the news about our different programs.
What type of promotional items are you talking about?
We're talking about like hand sanitizers, water bottles. Hold on, let me see. I have a list here.
I think it's in the questions.
Little bouncy balls, the stress balls.
Bouncy balls, yeah, the stress
Does he
balls.
have it in the backup?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep, all of those type of things. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy a full year's worth and keep them in our inventory so that we will have enough for all the programs throughout the year.
Right.
So again, we feel confident that this is gonna bring back more money than what we spend. We think that this is gonna be a good ROI, because again, with her just doing word of mouth,
Right.
we saw $100,000 increase in our Easy Pay program. So we want to make sure that the taxpayers understand these are ways of convenience for you.
Right.
And in order to get them to listen to us or to hear us, we have to kind of like dangle something in front of them
Yeah.
as a gift.
It's a gift, right.
If I can throw too, with COVID the last couple of years, there's going to be a lot more outreach. I know the delinquent tax department gets invited to inner city rings, but now this is countywide. They might start getting into their home days, things like that, and that's where your team member will have a booth set up and things like that, so.
And that's the other reason is that over the last 2 years since we've been in the pandemic, we never really had an opportunity to speak to the taxpayers. Now that we're sort of getting past the pandemic, this is a good opportunity for us now to reach out to the taxpayers again.
Councilman Miller.
Just a comment that it's hard to get the public's attention. People spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to do so, and there's just a lot of competition. I've heard some ridiculous number, like the average person hears something like 5,000 commercial messages a day of one kind or another. Reaching out to the public to encourage voluntary compliance with tax requirements is something that we have to do, and I'm for giving this a shot and hope it works well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any final questions? Mr. Boyle, come on.
How are you gonna assess compliance or what our return on investment's gonna be in a year?
As we have these different events, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at how many people that have signed up for maybe the Easy Pay program. How many people are, after the event is over, how many people are actually going to the financial hardship programs that we suggest that they attend to help them pay their delinquent taxes. So we're gonna create some type of statistical report, to show how many people we got involved based on hearing this information from the various events that they attended.
And what, so it's gonna have because, look, this has a very old school politic feel to it. I mean, I'm gonna say it like it is. But I think that Councilman Miller's comments are accurate, that, look, in this day and age, you almost have to be innovative in ways to get the attention of the taxpayers. These aren't gonna be campaign things, they're not gonna have people's names on them, brought to you by Councilman Smith, Jones, Johnson.
No, none whatsoever.
Not brought to you by executive whomever, not by treasurer whomever.
No.
County logo, and that's all we're dealing with.
That's all it is the county logo. And what we found is in the past, when our outreach coordinator went to these different events, we noticed that there were a lot of people at other tables, but no one was really at our table because we had nothing on our table.
I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're a governmental agency. The
Yes.
other agencies can and will throw tchotchkes at them with all their names on them. And you're right, but you also have to analyze the entire situation. But it's not a lot of money, and I get that certainly in your realm, it is important to drive consumer attention to it. I get that.
Yeah, and if we see that we're not returning at least $27,000 on this particular investment, we're gonna reconsider this and revisit this. But we feel confident that we will get more than $27,000 from the various programs.
So if I may just
Please.
follow, how many different promotional items will you be able to buy for $27,000? What is your limit per piece? How much are you gonna spend for a water bottle?
I don't have the specifics, but I can get that information to you as far as the price and the quantity that we're looking to buy. We do have those numbers,
Okay.
so I can email you that information.
And it was mentioned that it would just have our county logo on it. Can that be shared with other departments if they want to give a giveaway? Say, I mean, there's a lot of things that we do as outreach for many different agencies, and they may also want to say, well, we can't get the attention either, maybe we
just
should
invite him to come along. He'll be happy to set up his booth. He's got a person for that. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
share your
But-
booth. Well, they have their own, I'm sure, different times of the year they come together. I mean, even sustainability
Right.
with their,
Ray, I assume it has the phone number on there too, on some of it, the county treasurer's phone number, I'm
Yes.
guessing? Yeah. so
Yeah,
get
some
the
of
logo,
that,
the
some of the
phone.
items will have the phone
Yeah.
number on there.
So,
so it'll be limited then to your treasurer.
Yes.
Okay,
okay,
it's an idea, thanks.
sure. All right, seeing no further questions, I will make the recommendation to approve this item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next
Thank you.
item.
Next item, BC 2022-203, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with TEC Communications Incorporated for professional cybersecurity and incident response services for the period January 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2023, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $136,250.
Janelle Green, Department of IT. This is an amendment to an existing contract with TEC to add funds to it. TEC acts as the reseller for the services that are actually performed by Mandiant. Mandiant has been identified as a standard for IT services as identified by the TAC Board. They offer services such as policy, governance, and helps with cybersecurity incidents and computer forensics. We have utilized them since the beginning of 2021. We identified them as a potential vendor via the RFQ process. And we have been utilizing their services steadily over this time and wanted to add funds in order to extend their services to the end of the current contract in 2023.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item?
If I may,
Please.
and I'm trying to read your pretty extensive answer here, so thank you for that.
That was supplied by Jeremy Me. I want to make sure that's transparent. It was not me.
Well, it's read through most of it, but just a quick question then on what was written. So you are asking for $136,000 to enhance, right? To enhance what it is that we're doing now in the security.
Not exactly. This will be, Jeremy Mio, Department of IT. This will be essentially funding back up the retained service. So this service is an emergency retained service. It's also used for consulting. As much as we have a section of money for retained service that we keep sure is in reserves for an incident, we also don't want a bunch of money going into waste. So we use those for advisory services, for additional enhancements, and seeing where the program will go from an incident response perspective. The original contract was $250,000 for the first year. So we still have about $65,000 left in the contract. Again, for emergency services, we never want that to go to zero. And we're going to extend for another $136,000. So as we do enhance our services and get more capabilities, either internally or prepare our systems better, we hopefully can extend services for less money as we go forward. Or when we go out for new services, combine services. So we've slowly been combining a lot of our cybersecurity contracts. There are other ones, some of which we've been able to cancel going through and consolidating our services. We'll always probably have a third-party retained services because it's the best practice to have someone to have those expertise, so we don't have to hire really expensive forensic experts and other things that we might only need, hopefully never, but when we need them to be able to react and with a fixed cost.
Right.
Some people that don't have these services dip into their cyber insurance, which we also do have, and hopefully don't have to continue to put money into. Because if we don't have a fixed rate, then some of these consultants will charge $1,000, $2,000 an hour to respond.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Does the, did I hear you say that it was $250,000 a year that we have within this 3-year contract?
Was the original, it was only for 1 year.
Yeah, the original was for 1 year for $250,000, which we didn't use all of those funds.
What happens in the second year?
So the funds, we continued it on because it's the maximum dollar value of the contract. So
250 is the maximum?
that was the original maximum, so now we're adding on the 136 for it. So I think that brings us up to about 386. So we'll try to spend up to the maximum value of the contract.
So we had if I understand, we had a 3-year contract.
It was a 2-year from January 2021 to end of January of 2023.
Okay. That would be all of 2021, all of 2022, and
Yes.
all of 2023.
No, it's just the end of January.
131, not
January.
12. Got it. Okay. So 2-year.
Mhm.
So 250,000 at the time was thought to last us 2 years?
Correct. So we did not use all of that. As Jeremy stated, we had about $65,000 left of that, so we wanted to amend and add more money onto that.
Was the original thought that 250,000 would get us through the 2 years?
No, we knew it probably wasn't get us through the 2 years, but we knew that, the combined $500K or something probably wasn't right. So we wanted to understand our full kind of burn rate through and what was happening. so we could come back, especially with the budget years changing and certain things like that. We didn't want we weren't sure how we wanted to request that money until we knew a little bit better. The previous contract we had before this was originally a 2-year contract that then was amended over and over and over again and kind of ballooned into a way where we had to just kind of reset and understand, especially with all the newer technologies. And that was something kind of from going back to 2013 almost.
So if I may, so when you come back to us this fall to renew this contract, because it's ending in January of 2023.
We hope to RFQ it to go out to potentially a different service. We do have incident response capabilities within some of our Microsoft contracts that we've been building in just as redundancies.
Right.
So we potentially could, we never usually want to lapse, but we could lapse a month or two with our other response services, depending. So we want to keep it pretty fluid and flexible,
Right.
so we can make sure these vendors are constantly bidding. There's new vendors out there. There's all kinds of different services.
But that would
we can get.
probably come to us this summer or fall?
It would come in the fall, yep. Most likely would come to you as an RFQ in the summer, and then hopefully in the fall, we would start the purchasing process.
And your amount would probably be somewhere around 2, 3, 4, 500,000 for,
It would most likely still be between $100,000 and $200,000, depending on.
per year.
Yeah, and that's why we do RFQs too for these services, because we want to get the best qualified, and then we kind of go through negotiations with that after the fact.
Good to know. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Okay, any final questions? Yes, Mr.
I
Brown.
can't believe I'm asking this. Are you sure you got enough money in here for
Wow.
this? I mean, we don't play around with cybersecurity. I mean, we just don't, and
I will be
I
coming
can't
back
believe
for
you
many
asked
other
that question.
requests. This won't be the only one. As I mentioned, we have other services that we use. We never want to. It's very cautious to put all in one service.
Okay.
So we have our Microsoft will probably be, and I don't want to speak to ahead, but we'll probably be increasing some of our Microsoft capabilities, some other potential capabilities, other services. So we're trying to build our cybersecurity program, but also not in any
Right,
one
and so this is
spot.
one component of it, rather than an overarching, this is a BR. Because
Correct.
that's what my concern was, Janelle's like, I can't believe Boyle's asking for more money for us. But what I'm saying is that if
I have no problem with your comments.
I can hardly imagine. Okay, but that's fine, as long as, I mean, this is all part of what you would say is the kind of the all-encompassing
Yeah.
cybersecurity plan. It's a.
Yep, and we have some money for ARPA and some other things kind of going on. So we have a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
And hope to consolidate though, because we have a lot of other things that can be consolidated. But we're getting to the point where all of our consolidation is probably coming to an end. We just need to beef up a lot of other services.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-204, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Polarity IO Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $26,880 for the purchase of Polarity server subscription services for 10 users for the period December 9th, 2021 through December 8th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Janelle Green, Department of IT. This is a renewal of services originally procured under the CARES Act. We did bid this out in late November, and we did get a bid back, and the lowest bid of that we did get back was 51% higher than this rate. So we went back to the manufacturer of these services and utilized their quote in order to process this exemption. It is late due to, and we supplied a timeline within the backup of what happened with communicating with the vendor. They had some people leave, and unfortunately, that allowed this to drag on for as long as it did. So in order to ensure that we could still utilize those services, we again went back to the manufacturer, and we are requesting for approval today for these services.
Okay, Janelle, thank you. Questions from the board? Yes, please, Councilwoman Baker.
Was Polarity this the vendor that delayed it to begin with, or is this a new vendor?
Polarity was the original manufacturer that we went with under the CARES Act. And in order to comply with, the bidding requirements that the county has set up, we did go and do an informal bid for this, but everybody is a reseller, so they priced their markup on it. So we elected to go back to the manufacturer that we'd already dealt with, and in order to get this low price.
And was it Polarity that caused you the delay?
Yes.
And any issue with, because they did cause a delay and they seem to have some internal issues, any worry that they will continue those?
Well, they resolved their issues, and we've stepped up communication with them, so we know who to deal with, and we have like a general email box, so it's not going to one particular agent anymore. Now it's a department, so whoever is on that email chain can get it and respond accordingly.
And this is only for less than a one-year contract, is that right?
Yeah, so it was a one-year service for this.
We're already 4 months in,
Right, but it's dating back to the beginning, so it's still a one-year agreement.
and 1 year is enough for this type of service, especially with the issues that you had of trying to?
No, so we're going to procure this earlier than what we did before. So we're streamlining our communication processes with our vendors in order to avoid these kinds of issues again. So likely we'll be starting this probably in the fall, because it's an informal bid, and bring this back before you on time or earlier.
Will it be longer than 1 year?
Well, that would be up to Mr. Mio.
Seems
if-
like a year is a blink.
because he talks about the services that are always changing. And this is an application that the cybersecurity team uses. So if the services that are offered are tweaked, or if there's a better supplier of this kind of service, they could go out and change.
Okay.
Yep, this is Jeremy Mio, Department of IT. This was a CARES item, so it was also purchased pretty quickly, and some processes probably broke down there for the renewal. This is also in ARPA funding. This is part of the cybersecurity section. We will probably immediately be going out for RFB, probably like in the next 2 months, to then have everything going forward. It was an emergency purchase through CARES, so we were hoping that the technology would work out how it worked out. It did very well, so we probably will look at a more multi-year agreement. Multi-year agreement going forward, but we will bid that out and go through the process. It's helped tremendously to cut down our operational time to investigate things that we need to look at.
Good, thanks.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
very good. Any final questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2022-205, Common Pleas Court, Corrections Planning Board, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with Cleveland Municipal Court in the amount not to exceed $496,120 for education services for the Domestic Intervention Education and Training Program for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023.
Good morning. This is Linda Lagoonzad, co-administrator with the Corrections Planning Board. So the court is requesting permission to enter into this 2-year contract with the Cleveland Municipal Court's Diet Program, which again was the Domestic Intervention Education and Training Program for 2 years again. Approximately about 500 to 600 individuals go through the Diet Program every year. The Diet Program addresses the needs of offenders convicted of domestic violence by the Cleveland Municipal Court or the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. The Muni Court started its Diet Program in 2006 with grant funding from the state of Ohio. This program has been going on obviously for a while. Today, this grant-funded program continues to be operated by the City of Cleveland's Probation Department. Its objective is to divert offenders charged with domestic violence related to offenses to participate in a psychosocial education program in place of incarceration. The Diet Program now uses the new University of Cincinnati Center for Criminal Justice Research Cognitive Behavioral Intervention for Intimate Partner Violence curriculum, that's a mouthful, to address the needs of offenders convicted of domestic violence. The curriculum includes the use of evidence-based practices to improve public safety and reduce recidivism for individuals engaged in interpersonal violence and aggression.
Okay, Linda, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Yeah, please.
So I understand it's a grant and you're working through all these different entities to receive the grant, but it is considerably late. So is that why, just working through the process, or did you receive it late, or?
There's obviously the delay that occurs with, once grant funding is received from the state of Ohio, the Corrections Planning Board has to provide its approval of the use of the funds. And by the way, we're working to bring that particular meeting sooner into the summer for this next round. So that at least takes care of that extent, that delay. So to answer your question, there's some delay related to the grant itself. And there's just other issues in terms of getting it through the process, by the way, that we're addressing internally to make sure that this particular issue doesn't arise. You may have one more coming through. It's just one of the stragglers. And that particular one, we had issues with the provider, for instance, in getting registered in the county system.
Right.
So every situation is different. But I've already researched it myself, and I have actually a way to hopefully shorten the process for next time.
So the 9 months, which is what we're looking at here, were services still provided during that time?
I believe so. I mean, you have to. I mean, we have
Right,
to
how can
continue
you
forward.
not?
Yes.
Right. Is it carried over from the prior year? Is that how they're being paid, or are they?
I don't have an answer for that. That would be our finance office. So
Well, I would assume that they would not be paid and they would be
I
waiting
believe
for their
that's not the
dollars.
case. Yes, I believe they have not been paid.
Okay. There is a domino effect when things are submitted, especially considerably late, that there's those waiting for their dollars. But they also understand the system, and if they're able to wait, they do. All right, thank you.
Sure. Any additional questions?
About the interplay between the county courts and the city courts. City courts obviously dealing with the misdemeanor offenses. I would assume that more serious domestic violence or repeat offenders would fall under the county side. And it's not something for today, but if you or Marty can just get me some information on which ones go to county, which ones, and I assume that because this is an agreement with the city of Cleveland, that it's the city of Cleveland probation folks that are kind of dealing with these offenders. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
All right, that's fine. I'll shoot you an email.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2022-206, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University in the amount not to exceed $80,000 for data collection and program evaluation of the Cuyahoga County Veterans and Veterans Reentry Treatment Court Program for the period September 30th, 2021 through September 29th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi again, this is Linda Lagoonzed with the Corrections Planning Board. As stated, the court is wants to enter into an $80,000 one-year contract with Case Western Reserve University for the Veterans Treatment Court. It's our specialty docket program, and Case will continue to collect, clean, manage, merge, analyze, and report the data and reporting that's required to address the Veterans Treatment Court. These are federal requirements for reporting that Case helps us with.
Okay, thanks again, Linda. Questions from the board?
Handling the veterans docket? I know Judge Jackson did, but he's retired.
Judge John Russo right now is
Okay.
still on the docket.
Councilman Baker?
Again, we're 6 months into this, and we only have 6 months left. So any issue with that?
This is another one of the this is a 5-year grant-funded program. Case has understood from the beginning that this is an ongoing process of continued evaluation. They understand that there's a delay with this billing and the contract and the subsequent billing, but they continue to provide services under this grant. But yes, that there is a delay, and this goes back to the other issue, which I was telling you earlier, as to us looking into this matter and seeing if we can shorten this up a bit, especially when we know once the federal government releases the funds for the final year, that we time ourselves a little bit better with that, with our next contract and final one.
And if I may,
Please.
Case Western Reserve understands that this is ongoing beyond 9/29/2022? Is this,
Yeah, there's one more final year of this
and then will
grant-funded
they come
program.
back for more funding?
This particular grant, for some reason, and it's a SAMHSA grant, and they decided it's a 5-year grant, they decided to split up the funding that's released, 3 years, then 1, and then 1.
Okay.
So, Yes, there's an understanding of it having one more year.
Will you be coming back for another 80,000 in the
Yes.
final phase?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. Seeing no further questions or comments, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank
Next
you.
item.
Next item, BC 2022-207, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with Village of Brooklyn Heights in the amount not to exceed $800 for community diversion program services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
Good morning, Chair Brown, Juvenile Court. Here with another of our community diversion program agreements, this time with Brooklyn Heights. This is a late item. They took a while to get the required documents back. They have not had an active program since 2017, so that may have contributed to that, but the service period is through the end of 2023, so there's still a significant amount of time to provide services.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-208, Sheriff's Department, recommending an award on a purchase order to City of North Royalton in the amount not to exceed $23,165.91 for prisoner boarding care services for the period October 1st, 2021 through February 28th, 2022.
Good morning, Donna Cleel, Sheriff's Fiscal Manager. So this is, yes, it is 6 months late, and it's my understanding that what happens, is, right, let's get it out of the way. Sometimes snap decisions, since we're a 24-hour agency, are made on the fly. Unbeknownst to us, we just received in March 6 months' worth of invoices from the City of North Royalton. So again, what happens is we will house violent misdemeanors in the jail. What we don't house in the jail is non-violent misdemeanors. So if the City of North Royalton, I guess, had a couple offenders, non-violent, lower-level misdemeanors, but charged on a state code, so they were ours. So what happened is that we did not have the manpower to get them from Royalton and get them somewhere else. We did not want to take them into our jail downtown. So they were just told, keep them and bill us. Again, it was a snap decision, and there's a breakdown in communication, and I've talked to some of the jail administration about this. When that happens, they need to let us know. So again, this was going on for the last 6 months, which is what we need to pay now. Now, I did talk to Marty over in North Royalton, and he said currently there is no other county inmates at the jail in North Royalton, so I don't see this happening now, but we will put a PO in place for the future in case it does continue to happen, because again, sometimes decisions are made and those decisions do not reach the fiscal office. The only time we found out is when we get 6 months' worth of invoices.
Yeah. You know, or you could do a mission critical possibly in the future if it came down to that, you know, rather than tying up your money, but those are options. We can help you on that.
What we'd probably do is maybe just like a small PO, because that way then it would buy us a month, and then we could, yeah. So that's one of the things we're looking at.
Thanks, Donna. Are there questions from the board? Yes, please.
Thanks for that explanation. I couldn't understand how we could have people being incarcerated and not know it, but I see the breakdown between the.
Jail knew it, fiscal didn't know.
Right, exactly. So I would think a PO immediately.
Correct.
At the time that decision's made would take care of that problem.
And that's why we're working on one right now for like a 1 or 2 month, and then if we need more time, we can then work on another PO, but just to get something in place.
Right.
If this happens again.
Right, okay, good, thanks.
Sure. Donna, where physically were these folks being held?
In North Royalton.
And I would assume that the North Royalton Jail is by design and probably by state mandate a short-term facility. Is that right? Or maybe I'm wrong. I know some of them are.
I don't know. I have the email from Marty basically saying that that they had these Marty Tokatin, he's the I think he's the jail administrator there, and he basically talked to some of our jail administration and said, look, you know, we have these people, and they were just told to keep them. So I don't know if they're 12-day or if they're long-term. That I don't know. But all I know is that this was the same person, though, or maybe I think it was 2 people over the 6 months. So whether they're short-term or not, they were there.
But it is the county's obligation to foot the bill. And
yes,
my long-term concern, and I don't have any issue with this, with the approval of this, but the long-term concern that I have is that I have heard from other, and I've discussed it with the sheriff, I've heard from other municipality or other municipal courts that I'm aware that we have jail constraints and size constraints as well, but for example, repeat DUIs charged under state code, those are our obligation.
Yes, they are.
And when we have an indication that we are not housing those folks, we are gonna foot the bill for them wherever those folks are being held. And so that's something that I think we have to wrap we being the entire county, fiscal, sheriffs, et cetera, to figure out where these folks are gonna be held. It is our legal obligation to pay for someone charged under state code DUI, even if it's a misdemeanor.
Correct.
And we have a mandate or we have an indication that we're not taking non-violent offenders. I don't know that that complies with the law, but it's working for now.
Correct, and we do have like, the, contract with the city of Solon, we put in one in place right now with Maple Heights, we're gonna put one in with Royalton. Usually, my understanding is if something like this happens, we have the manpower to go get them and take them somewhere, we do have a contract, but I guess in this circumstance, you know, we're short staff in the jail, in law enforcement, I mean, we're short everywhere.
I hear you.
So we just couldn't get them transported, so they were told in Royalton, just hold them.
Right, and it does, I mean, and I don't think I'm saying anything that Councilman Miller doesn't agree with. You know, this county is acutely aware of the need to really keep a strong eye and finger on the pulse of the number of people that we are holding. And I think that, so this falls within that entire conversation.
Okay, thank you. Any final question? Yes, please.
Just curious on the answer back, we responded quickly to get the past due invoices paid. Where were those past due invoices going that we weren't alerted earlier that?
I don't know. I don't know. At the time when I received them and I looked and seen they were October, I just got on it me and my team got on it just to get them paid. I don't know if they were even going anywhere. I don't know. I can send Marty an email and try to find out if they were going anywhere. My guess would be if they were going to somebody in jail administration. And I guess, again, there is a breakdown because they make these decisions and sometimes they don't funnel up to us until it's too late.
They
So-
wouldn't funnel an invoice that they, of course, can't pay, and they wouldn't send it on to where they thought it should be paid?
I don't know the answer. I really don't. I just,
right.
I don't know where they were going, if they were going anywhere.
Okay.
I'm
It's just
sorry.
a curious question. So, but you've got that remedied now?
Yes, we do. Yeah, they know whoever they send them to copy me.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure. Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-209, Office of the Medical Examiner, recommending an award on requisition 7442 and enter into a contract with Perkin-Elmer Health Sciences Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $94,266.80 for the purchase of one replacement Fourier Transform Infrared Spectrometer and related services, commencing upon contract signature of all parties through September 30th, 2022.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. We are using one of our DOJ grants to purchase an infrared spectrometer that does material analysis for our trace evidence unit.
Okay, Hugh, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item. Thanks.
Next item, BC 2022-210, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Mental Health Services for Homeless Persons Incorporated, doing business as Frontline Service, for coordinated intake services for individuals and families in connection with the Emergency Solutions Grant Program for the period September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2022, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $89,859.
Good morning or afternoon. Melissa Surak, Office of Homeless Services. I'm requesting approval for this contract amendment for coordinated entry, which serves as the central access point for our homeless continuum of care. These funds were not exhausted in the original grant award through HUD, so we are making this request to further allow them to exhaust these funds, making sure that we're not at risk of also having those funds recaptured through HUD, which could jeopardize our further funding of service.
Thank you, Melissa. Are there questions from the board? Please.
So you were at risk, you thought, of losing $89,000 unless you asked for this extension? What was it that you were at risk for?
That is correct. In general, so similar to many of the providers in the continuum of care, frontline service had experienced some staffing challenges that did not permit them to spend these funds. And anytime we receive funding through HUD, you're at risk of not having continuation of that award if you're not exhausting your awards to the full contract amount. And they do have plenty of eligible services moving this forward to exhaust that.
Thanks for that explanation.
Sure, absolutely.
Any final questions on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Next item, or consent
We're
agenda.
moving on to consent items BC 2022-211 through 213.
Okay, board members, there's only a couple items there, so give you a moment to take a look. Do we have any questions on the consent agenda items? Okay. Yeah. I believe we had one last week similar to this, Marcos, do you know, or? I'm sorry.
It seems odd, that's all.
It's just, this is an amendment to a contract that was tied to a federal grant, as same thing as you heard last week. This is simply an extension of time. We did not receive the extension on the federal grant until after the date of this contract. They have not provided any services or invoiced anything during this time period.
Seems odd that it would be after the contract, you would then be receiving more dollars, that's all.
Marcus Cortez with Office of Health and Human Services. This is the fourth one that we brought forward to you, similar to this one. This is all related to that Bureau of Justice grant.
Okay.
The timeline explains, we tried to request that the extension, the system was down, we finally got it, we had to get it approved. Unfortunately, the department also didn't realize we had to put it into our system in OnBase to get that extension authorized, so it did take a little bit more time than it should have, but this should be the last one in the series.
My next question is, that you don't anticipate any further?
No, not related to this grant, no.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Any final questions on consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to other business.
We have one-time sensitive mission critical, BC 2022-214, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award and enter into a contract with United Way of Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $3,000 to provide transportation services to Cuyahoga County residents seeking COVID-19 vaccinations and boosters for the period January 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022.
As the motion says, this is a COVID-related transportation. We had a contract last year that was scheduled to end December 31st for this service, and because of dwindling demand, we had made the decision not to continue the contract. Then we come to the middle of December, and as everybody knows, we had an upsurge in the Omicron virus, and so the decision was made to continue the services. So we did reach out to United Way. They said they did have the capacity to continue the service, and so we immediately set upon doing a time-sensitive, mission-critical contract. United Way had some delays getting it back to us, which is why we're now standing here in April. But they have been providing the services. We have not paid anything until the contract is approved.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Great. At this time, then, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Dale,